everybody? It's your boy Jimmy here. Today we actually about to go ahead and do a reaction to one of We See Entertainment's animes, and this is actually called I Almost Was Kidnapped by a Stranger Using an Online Internet Connection, Internet Transaction. This will be one of the 3 horror stories in this compilation, so we're going to see what's popping with this one. First, let's get that. Let's go.
I'm 24, and this happened 5 years ago when I was 19. I was conducting an online transaction on a site called Alks, which is similar to Craigslist. It's an online app where you can see items being sold by random strangers, and all you have to do is make a call and meet up. I was looking for a cheap sweater for my trip to Japan the following week. After several minutes of scrolling, I came across an ad with exactly what I was looking for. A Korean-style female fur sweater for just 300 pesos, about $6. It was perfect. I had issue with it. The meetup point was at the LRT train station at 8 p.m. because the seller was too busy at work. I decided, what the heck, it's a public place anyway. I called the owner and we had a quick convo. He sounded like a strict guy, but I asked him when we could meet up. He responded, "Tonight at 8 p.m. sharp."
Not on duty. Not on duty.
I said sure. But this recklessness of mine is what I regret the most. I arrived at the meeting place at 7:58 p.m. It was really empty, and I was sure I was the only person in the station. It was a cold night in November, and I eagerly awaited warming myself with my coat. Honestly, I'm the kind of girl who's comfortable wearing a sweater even when it's hot. I was sitting on a bench when the clock ticked 8 o'clock, when suddenly someone covered half of my face with a scarf with a really strange scent. I fell unconscious. As I woke up, I found myself in a van with 4 guys, my wrists handcuffed behind my back. I asked the man what they wanted and to please let me go. Tears began to fall from my eyes. But then, one of the guys touched my face and said, "It's our first time ever tasting a beautiful girl like you." I kept on crying and shouted, "Please, I want to go home, please." The guy next to me choked me, shouting that I needed to shut up. I tried to resist, but my eyes started to roll back in my head. He stopped, but it was taking a long time for me to catch my breath. I looked out the window and saw a checkpoint lane. For the first time in my life, I was so glad that the authorities had permission to check the van. But the guy next to me reached for a gun, a really big gun. Knowing this was my only chance, I found the strength to shout and cried out, "Officer, please help! They have a gun!" The 2 officers immediately grabbed their guns, one shooting at the tires, the other aiming for the man next to me. The officer shot him in the head. I never thought I'd witness such a thing in my life. One of the officers carried me out of the van, and I passed out moments later. I woke up the next day in a hospital bed. My parents were there, crying and asking me what happened. I told them the truth, that I was buying a sweater online. But I suddenly snapped. I cried and cried, saying, "Please help, please help." Since then, I've had to go to a psychiatrist to recover from mental instability and anxiety, and it should go without saying, but I never ever want to buy anything online, ever again.
Old guy, crazy old guy.
When I was 7 or 8 years old, my parents used to take me to this beach cafe in our town. It had a pool and the cafe was right next to the beach. The family that owned the cafe were my family's close friends, so I spent a lot of my childhood there. The best part about the beach is that when you passed the cafe and the playground, there was a lot of sand and a net for volleyball. As kids, my friends and I would always play there. One ordinary summer night, there was quite a few of us playing in the sand, making castles and doing other things. All of a sudden, I heard a noise behind me in the bushes, right where the sand ended. I should mention that there were woods around the whole place, but it wasn't deep or anything. I was a brave kid, so I just brushed it off as being a cat or animal of some sort, and continued to play. However, when I looked up at my friends, who were now quiet and staying still, I got the chills. I noticed that all of their eyes had widened. They were staring at me, or rather at whatever was behind me.
Get your ass up. Get up. Get up. Get your ass up.
The shock kicked in, and I felt like I was going to faint. I started shaking. I didn't even want to turn around. But when I felt something cold on the back of my neck, that was the last straw.
Oh, shit!
Run.
Ah! 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 Ah!
What the fuck?
I started running full speed towards the cafe filled with people, and my friends immediately followed behind me. There were 6 children crying and screaming at the top of our lungs. I remember finally clinging to my mom and crying in her arms. Soon after, the sound of sirens followed by police cars parked in front filled the air. When the adults talked to the police, my friends and I were confused. I still didn't know what was behind me, so I asked my oldest friend in the group, who was 10 years old and talking to his dad. It turns out there was this crazy old guy who robbed a lady and stabbed her to death not so far away from here. My friends told me he appeared behind me smiling like a sick clown. He was holding a knife and pressing it against the back of my neck.
It's the real deal. Help me. Help me.
You just made the list!
That must have been the cold thing I felt. From then on, I never stayed far away from the cafe when the sun went down. And thankfully, they caught the guy.
Oh yeah, he was creepy. Those guy, very very creepy. And you should have stayed by the cafe from Jump Street. So I don't know what to tell you. First of all, why are you doing? Why is the parent even let you go that far in the first place? I'm just saying. Yeah. And in the first one, that's why I don't buy shit from Craigslist and anything like that, because I don't trust that. I don't trust that shit, because you never know what you can run into or what you might find or who you might find. You know, if I can't order it and have it sent to my address from Amazon, JCPenney, Dillard's, any place I can find them all, I don't want it unless it's something that's overseas. Then other than that, I don't want it. I don't do online shopping like that. You know, I'm more of a in-store type of person. But when I don't feel like going in the store, then yeah, sometimes I will order online. But it'd be stuff that you don't really see on a regular basis. But meet up, no, I don't do that. But if we can't meet in the daytime, we ain't got to meet up at all. That's how I look at it. But like I said, that's just my opinion. But I guess I'm ending it right here. If y'all want to catch the rest of the video, the link will be in the description below. But in the meantime, between time, I'll see you when I see you. I'll let your boy. Peace.